Heyo, and what is up, gang? Thank you for checking out Sledgehammer TV tonight for the first time since the 2-hour debut of NXT on USA. The yellow and black brand of the WWE kicks things up a notch, and last night's episode actually felt like I was watching NXT. Non-stop action throughout, a fantastic main event matchup, and an ending that needs to be seen to be believed, and we are here to talk about it right here and right now. My name is Nick Nightmare, and you are watching the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, NXT Live on USA, review and reaction show. Not very much wrong in this episode, but we will find a few things, as we always do. Let's do it. What a tremendous night. October the 23rd, 2019 will go down in history as one of the greatest nights of professional wrestling of the year, at least. Holy shit, man. Between what AEW threw at us and now what I just experienced watching NXT, you have to be happy to be a wrestling fan when you wake up on a Thursday morning. It's a completely opposite effect that we have Tuesday mornings and Saturday mornings. But this was fantastic. This was a great show. And all of you guys that wanted to hit up the comments section last night on the AEW review and say, oh, AEW was a perfect show. If that was a perfect show, in your opinion, I would love to know how you would classify this episode of NXT. This show was fucking great. This was a great show throughout. AEW was great as well. We will compare it more on the Saturday episode. A lot of you guys not coming out for the comparison show, so I don't know how much longer we're going to do that. But if you want to come and find out the head-to-head comparison, you know every Saturday evening is when we do that. But let's talk about and focus on NXT. A lot of very highly impactful matchups with great meaning. Everything that happened almost everything that happened tonight had something to do with something meaningful going on. They're telling stories. We're not just getting a bunch of random matchups, and it was a very well-structured episode from start to finish. We kicked off NXT with a women's matchup that was going to determine the next number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship, currently held by Shayna Baszler. This was going to be Rhea Ripley against Bianca Belair. In both cases, for both of these females, I have absolutely nothing negative to say about either one of these girls. They are two of my favorite female wrestlers that the WWE has, and when they put them against each other, my initial gut reaction, being the cynical bastard that I am, wants to say, I want to shit on this match a little bit, just because why would you want either one of these women to lose? But you can't have every match go down in a double disqualification or count out or some sort of a schmozz finish. And this matchup is a great example, the way it turned out, how you can get both superstars over with one superstar losing and the other one winning. I was a little fearful at the beginning that somebody was going to be made to look bad and end up back at the bottom of the barrel, but these two girls are so good that there was no way that was going to happen. This was a very intense matchup, maybe my favorite women's matchup of the entirety of the week thus far. This was a great test for Rhea Ripley to show what she is bringing to NXT. She is the first ever NXT UK Women's Champion. She has got her sights set on the NXT Women's Championship, and I would love nothing more than to see her face off against Shayna Baszler. I would love to see Bianca Belair go up against Shayna Baszler, but I think right now is not her time, and this was a great spot for Rhea Ripley, and they are going that direction as Rhea Ripley defeats Bianca Belair in a fantastic matchup between these two girls. There was a little bit of a nervous energy going on. You could see at first they were a little bit standoffish and kind of telegraphing their moves a little bit, but they very quickly settled in and gave us a very high quality women's matchup to determine the new contender for the women's champion, and it was great. It was great. Not really much wrong here. It was also made better with the addition of the little bit of extra, which is Io Shirai, who does not want to be overlooked. She still wants to be in consideration for the championship as well, and she wants to get in the way of Rhea Ripley. She came out to try to attack her. She allowed the distraction just enough for Belair to hit Rhea Ripley with a spear, but it would end up all for nothing as Candice LeRae would come down to kind of balance things out in the end, and it would allow Ripley to execute a pump handle powerbomb for the win. Pete Dunne's little sister, the most intense and awesome woman that I think NXT has outside of Shayna Baszler, is going head to head and gunning for Baszler, and that's going to be one hell of a matchup. Both of these women are absolutely beautiful in their own right, and they are just as far as their wrestling goes. I'm not just talking about their physical features. Like, they are just fantastic athletes, fantastic performance, and I can't say enough about how much joy this women's match brought me watching. Two of my favorites going head to head, showing the whole entire world why they deserve to be everybody's favorites. Can't say enough good about it. We had a segment with Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate walking into the building. Pete Dunne was addressed about everything that happened with Damian Priest and Killian Dane last week. Killian Dane last week. Pete Dunne said he has no excuses for his loss to Damian Priest, and as far as Killian Dane is concerned, he just does not care. And then he just kind of walked off camera. We were then treated to a simply fantastic promotional video focusing on Tommaso Ciampa, and they need to do more things like this, especially with the talent that we are not familiar with. This whole entire thing about Ciampa and his obsession with Goldie and how he wants to get back to the top and will stop at nothing to reclaim the title was very intense. It was very gripping, and it was very well put together, and they need to do more of these things. Imagine we got to know guys like Matt Riddle and a Cameron Grimes and an Angel Garza by having things like this that show us, why are you here? What are you fighting for? What are you about? That would only enhance everybody on the roster, and I need them to do more things like that. It gave me that old school vibe while still keeping things fresh and new and focusing on a superstar that deserves our attention. And already we are all fans of Tommaso Ciampa, so we were already hyped just for him coming back. So now imagine if they apply this to people that we're unaware of, or people that we need to be exposed to, or need to find a reason to root for. So they need to implement that. There's a little something wrong with NXT over. I mean, we got to try to find something. That's the whole purpose of this show. I don't exist, and the Hammer is not here to sit here and tell everybody how wonderful things are. This feels very strange to me. There's always going to be something that I'm going to say I don't like, because that's just the type of person I am. So maybe I'm kind of reaching here, but if I have to make one little complaint, I think they need to take what they did here and do it more often, and with lesser known superstars. Then we had Matt Riddle versus Cameron Grimes. Any of you guys that are fans of this show and that have been continuing to follow my coverage on the Wednesday Night War or just NXT in general know that I'm not the biggest guy that is a fan of the Matt Riddle character. I respect what he does in the ring. He's absolutely great, but I just don't dig the character and the vibe that he brings with him. It just feels kind of 90s to me, and something about it was off-putting. We all know how I feel about Cameron Grimes, the little swamp rat in a top hat. That just was very underwhelming to me in his presentation. He's beating people with one move. Does he deserve all of this? I don't know. He was the first ever recipient of the Poop Hammer Award. And now here I am, watching a match between two guys whose characters I'm not really a fan of, and they pulled me in. They suckered me into this matchup. This match was very good. If I had to, and of course I have to, give you guys one criticism, it is I cannot be on this channel and talk shit and talk down about the quality of the matches in AEW and New Japan and some of the other independent promotions for the no-sell style and the Kenny Omega offense. But this is kind of what we've seen with Matt Riddle tonight. He's did the same maneuvers over and over and over again. So many kicks, so many knee strikes. that after a while it's just like, please do something different. But when they finally decided to do something different, boy, did they do some different things. Cameron Grimes was tremendously impressive. Tremendously impressive. I can't even believe I'm saying those words to you, but if you go back and watch any of the previous reviews, I believe I may have said, if he's that good, let me see why he's that good. Give this guy a match. Give him 8 minutes, give him 7 minutes, let him go out there and tear it down. I don't need to see him coming out there and squash guys twice his size. So now he goes out there with a guy like Matt Riddle and absolutely pulled me in. Totally got me invested in that matchup. I thought multiple times that Cameron Grimes might actually pull out the win here. And it was great. It had an excellent pacing, very well timed. The only thing was the repetitiveness of Matt Riddle's striking, because it just was over and over and over again. But a lot of crazy maneuvers. There was one spot where Cameron Grimes did like a backflip on top of Matt Riddle, who was kind of like hunched over, and he like backflipped and then turned the backflip into a German suplex. Like, it was, I've never seen anything like it. I was confused when he did it. He was standing there and he started flipping in the air, and in my brain I'm going, what the hell was that? And then he executed it into the German, and I'm like, what the hell was that? It was very, very impressive. Absolutely great. I did not appreciate this match not going to the picture-in-picture break because I did not want to miss the action. But in the end, it was Matt Riddle who got the finish, did his little Bo Derek maneuver, which is pretty cool, got the pinfall over Cameron Grimes, who, just like in the women's match, got himself over even in defeat, and you can't complain about that. The one weird thing that happened after this matchup, Tyler Bate was in the front row. He was congratulating Matt Riddle. Cameron Grimes took exception to this, and he got into his face a little bit, and then Tyler Bate knocked him out with a solid hook. Just completely cold-cocked him, dropping him down. And I'm going to expect to see that in the future. We'll probably have a Tyler Bate versus Cameron Grimes match to look forward to, and considering what I've seen him do with Matt Riddle, and considering the fact they are not going to squash Tyler Bate in 30 seconds, not for nobody, that is going to be one hell of a matchup, and I can't wait to see that. William Regal, the general manager, showed face, and he wanted to book a tag team matchup on this night. Later in the show, we are going to get the winners of the women's tag team matchup will receive a shot at the current tag team champions of the women's division, I almost was going to call them the Sky Pirates, but they are the Kabuki Warriors, and they are Asuka and Kairi Sane, who I absolutely love the new presentation of. I think it's going to be great for them. It's just what they needed. They needed to do something to feel a little bit different. Their babyface personas were getting old and tired and stale, and this new heel edge that they're walking on as the Kabuki Warriors, and Asuka with the face paint and talking in Japanese, and then Kairi Sane finished it off. I'm getting ahead of myself with that, but man, I just love what they're doing with the Kabuki Warriors. Hopefully that transcends itself to all of their stuff on the main roster as well, but as far as what we've seen of them in NXT so far, fantastic. 6-man tag team action. This was a good 6-man. It was a very standard 6-man tag team match. Nothing really stands out to it. It had a little bit of an underwhelming finish. Here we go. We got some things wrong with NXT. There was an underwhelming finish to this matchup. A couple of pretty noticeable mistimed and botched spots throughout this 6-man. Not the biggest fan of the Forgotten Sons. They're just Sanity Light to me. Sanity 2.0. They don't really do much for me. I enjoyed Breezango tonight. I know I came down on them for coming out as like construction workers last time, but if this is going to be their thing and every week they're going to come out in some different style or some different fashion, then they can pull it off, and they did so tonight, and it was pretty entertaining, and I don't mind them being silly and entertaining and dressing up like goofballs when they can get in the ring and give us action like we got tonight. So one hand washes the other. We got great action, we got great entertainment, and you could thank NXT and Breezango for that. They were given Isaiah Swerve Scott as their third partner, and this was like I said, just a standard 6-man tag. Now, that might be confusing to you since we get so many six-man tags. I'm not talking about a Raw and SmackDown six-man tag. This was just your run-of-the-mill, average NXT or AEW style six-man tag. Lots of high spots, a couple of botches, like I said, but this was good enough. Swerve pinned Blake to win the match for his team. The underwhelming finish came after a bunch of really crazy high spots, and then Swerve just executed a kick. He just kicked Wesley Blake in the back of the head. It was some kind of a weird, cool-looking kick, but it was just a kick to the back of the head. And I thought a matchup like that would have had some kind of a cool tandem finish or some sort of a team dynamic, but I guess they're using it as a vehicle to put the Swerve over. And if you're going to do that, then I guess I could be accepting of it. But six-man tags, at this point in my life, I could have done without. We could have taken some time away from it, at the very least. Maybe cut the time down because it was given a substantial amount of time. And maybe add that and apply it to some of the other matches on this evening. But this was a good match. It was a pretty good matchup. There was nothing all that wrong with it, except that it was a six-man, really. It's the biggest strike against it if I had to pick something. Roderick Strong was shown warming up, and that was cool, seeing him with the Undisputed in the back, doing all his, flex band things. I do all of those cool maneuvers, and it's not easy. It's not as easy as he makes it look. I certainly do not look as cool as he does using my therapy bands and my rubber bands like that. I'll tell you that much. We had Lio Rush joining commentary, and then they cut to a Killian Dane promo where he was standing over a dumpster fire, which I believe the script for Monday Night Raw was probably in, and he was taping his fingers together, and he was referencing Pete Dunne, saying, "You tried to break my fingers." He stood over this fire as he was taping his fingers. So I guess that's what he's going to do. He's going to come out, he's going to face Pete Dunne, he's going to tape up his fingers so Pete Dunne can't break him with all his finger manipulation. Sound strategy by the big man. Let's see if it works out. I don't know what the fire in the barrel had to do with anything, but it was fine. Angel Garza defeated Gentleman Jack Gallagher. This is why Lio Rush was on commentary. We had a Cruiserweight feature. As the Cruiserweights are now on NXT, then why does 205 Live still exist? Why can't we just cancel that altogether and just reserve everybody for a Cruiserweight match here and there in the division on NXT and just leave it at that? Why is 205 Live around? We're not here to talk about that. We were never here to talk about that because it wasn't really worth our time. But this matchup could have been skipped. It was entertaining. I don't mind Jack Gallagher. I think Angel Garza is probably going to be a big star in the future. I like his little Latin lover thing he's got going on. Guy's got charisma just spewing all over him, but this match was unnecessary. It was an unnecessary matchup on a great night where they could have, again, taken this matchup off the card completely because it wasn't really given all that much time and added it to maybe the women's tag team matchup, which I thought was a little bit too short. Or maybe added it to give even more time to what was a tremendous main event, which we are going to get to in a minute. But I could have lived without this matchup. It was a take it or leave it matchup. Nothing really all that special about it. Some nice solid action from the two guys. Nothing that surprising to me about Gentleman Jack. I've seen him in the Cruiserweight Classic. I know what he's got to bring to the table. I was far more impressed with what I've seen from Angel Garza. And if this is what they can show us in such a relatively short amount of time with a lot of fast near falls and a lot of really cool high-paced, high-impact maneuvers, then I can get into it. Garza jumped off the second rope and hit a quebrada. I don't know if I said that correctly. If I did, fine. If you don't know what it is, go watch the match and you'll see it. And got the pinfall in the Cruiserweight division, maybe getting himself in line for a future Cruiserweight Championship shot. This would be followed by Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai taking on Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir, two of the four horsewomen of the MMA. And this would have number one contenders implications on the line. As we heard earlier from William Regal, the winner of this matchup gets a tag team championship opportunity next week, apparently, on NXT. If I heard that correctly, I'm pretty sure just 7 days from now we are going to get some big money matchup as Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai defeated Jessamyn Duke and Marina Shafir in what was a relatively short matchup. Tegan Nox pinned Duke to earn this title match for her team next week. This was, for the time that it was given, this was pretty impressive. We've seen some good stuff from both of these girls. My one thing I can say to you, if we're going to bring some hammering down on this, is I don't know what either of these two teams are doing fighting for a shot at the championship. They have done nothing relatively as a team on their own. You know, Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox are real-life best friends. They are also best friends with Candice LeRae, so it makes kind of sense for them to team up and be a tag team. They kind of got the whole sister thing going on. And then you got the two soldiers of the four horsewomen on the other side. Neither one of them established as a tag team. Neither one of them with a lot of wins under their belt as a team. So what is making William Regal want to give this championship implications? Because there is no real tag team division for the women. And I will appreciate the fact that they didn't have Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai fighting the Kabuki Warriors tonight and pinning the champions to get that title shot. I appreciate the fact that they put them in against another tag team. It's not their fault that the women's tag team division is built like a piece of crap, and it's just not really even there yet. We don't have a lot of teams, and the teams that we do have we're not using, and they're most likely moving away from in the near future. So they're going to do a lot of things like this. Tegan Nox just came back last week. She just came back last week. She had an impressive debut. She teamed back up with her best buddy, and just 7 days after returning, she's getting a championship opportunity based off of one win, based off of Dakota Kai's feud with the Horsewomen. None of those things have anything to do with the Kabuki Warriors, so it's a little bit confusing. So there you go. See, we have the tone of the show back again. Something is wrong with this matchup, as good as it was. As much as I look forward to seeing Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai take on the Kabuki Warriors for the championship now, I don't think it was good to do to Duke and Shafir. They're not built up enough to be taking losses so quickly, but maybe because they're not built up so much yet, it won't really hurt them too much. That might sound like a contradiction, but that is the two facts. You got on one side, this could be something that could be a detriment, or it could be something that down the line might earn the respect of the fans, or I don't know where they're going to go with it. You don't want to have them taking too many losses before you're made to be afraid of them. We're only going to be afraid of them when they're with Shayna Baszler or Ronda Rousey, but on their own, they're not going to be worth a shit. We don't need them to become the female revival. That remains to be seen. But this was an interesting matchup, way too short for my taste, especially being for the number one contendership. With some of the other matches I already mentioned could have been shortened. I think the time would have been better invested here. After this tag team title matchup was announced for next week, it has also been announced that Cameron Grimes will be taking on Tyler Bate, which I cannot wait. And then they also announced Io Shirai will be taking on Candice LeRae, and that's probably going to be the best women's match of all of next week. The last time we seen them in the ring at TakeOver, it was fantastic. And I feel like it's going to be even better than that next week. So now they set us up for next week, and then they wanted to deliver. They wanted to deliver like the postman Karl Malone. That's a little dated, but I'm an old man, and I don't really follow basketball that much anymore because my New York Knicks absolutely suck to high hell. Maybe that'll change this year. I doubt it. But this main event was just... this is everything a wrestling fan lives for. Some of you guys might not be fans of a triple threat match. I don't mind a good triple threat match. I definitely don't mind a great triple threat match. And you certainly can't be upset when you get what was most likely the best triple threat match you have seen in any company all year long. And don't come down on me and be one of those people that I seen on social media saying that, oh, I see so many people pissed off about Marco Stunt. He's not believable, but there's no outrage for Roderick Strong. No, there's no outrage for Roderick Strong. You know why that is? Watch this matchup. First of all, it's a triple threat matchup. 99.9% of the damage to the two much larger men was inflicted on each other. Roderick Strong got his shots in, and he made every single shot count. But he did not play a really major deciding factor in the finish of this matchup. This was all based off of the power of the two bigger men. And if you can find me footage and show me some instance somewhere where Marco Stunt is Olympic slamming a man the size of Keith Lee, maybe I'll change my tune on that. But until then, don't even tell me that Roderick Strong is too little to be beating two big guys like that. And it doesn't make me a hypocrite. It makes me right. Because when you see how strong this guy is, and it's not just a pun on his last name that he's using, Roderick Strong is a phenomenal athlete. He was the smaller of the three men for sure. But that is in height alone. In every single other category, this man equaled Dijakovic. This man equaled Keith Lee, and that is a very hard thing to do. Nobody really gave him a shot at coming out of this thing alive. I certainly thought tonight we were going to crown a new North American champion and that we were going to continue Keith Lee versus Dijakovic's rivalry with the championship on the line, making the first blemish in the Undisputed Era's record since acquiring all the gold. But that's not what happened. And the finish was pure brilliance. Roderick Strong was taken out of this matchup by an insane move by Keith Lee. And we seen them on the outside, all three guys, and they were, I shouldn't be speaking in such open terms. It's just so hard to talk about a match that is this good, but Lee and Dijakovic had Roderick Strong on the outside and then pulled off a series of tandem maneuvers where they were just like playing with Roderick Strong like he was a tennis ball, and then left him out on the ramp where I most certainly believed that Roderick Strong was now not going to be a factor for the rest of this match. We are going to have a new champion. But that would not be the case. The finish of this match would see Keith Lee setting up Dijakovic off the top rope with a sit-out powerbomb, and immediately after the impact, a seemingly and thought dead Roderick Strong would emerge from off-camera, hit Keith Lee in the face with a kick, and get the pinfall, stealing his own championship. Is it possible to steal something that actually already belongs to you? It is after tonight because Roderick Strong did it. There was no way he should have walked out of that matchup with that championship still around his waist. They told an excellent story. We've seen some tremendous physicality. Roderick Strong's stock has got to be raised in your eyes. If you weren't a Roderick Strong guy and you've seen this matchup, you have to at least show him a little bit of respect. Another spot I want to talk about that I just can't get out of my mind is there was one instance where Keith Lee was in the corner and he was setting up Dijakovic for a powerbomb off the second rope, and Dijakovic had Strong set up in a suplex, and they were going to do that Tower of Doom suplex powerbomb combination maneuver out of the corner. And it seemed as if Roderick Strong didn't get his launch off correctly from the corner, and it kind of left Dijakovic in a deadlift with him in suplex position, but he didn't quite have him up, like he couldn't execute it and get it over. And these guys were just frozen in place, and it was the most impressive feat of strength I think you can put on Keith Lee's resume. This guy was standing there, holding both of these men's full body weight, totally perpendicular to the way he should have. I mean, it was impressive, man. It was unbelievable. And then they finally were able to turn it at the last second. I thought it was going to collapse and just fall apart, and they pulled it off just due to sheer strength. I don't know who really was the one that got it over, but goddamn, that was something special as well. This match was fantastic, and what makes it even better is the fact that this amazing main event that got you hyped isn't even the biggest thing that happened on this show. Roderick Strong steals this victory from this triple threat matchup, steals his own championship. And the Undisputed Era would come out and they want to celebrate because the Undisputed Era of Gold is still running strong, and it is thanks to Roderick Strong. And then we had Tommaso Ciampa come out. He had his crutch in hand. He had a very ominous look on his face. We then seen Johnny Gargano come out. And these two guys hit the ring. They're standing face to face with all four members of the Undisputed Era. We're seeing something very similar to what we also seen on AEW on this very same night, but executed 1,000,001 times better. And then they swerved us even more, as Finn Balor makes his way to the ring to become the third man to assist Gargano and Ciampa in the war against the Undisputed. Or at least you thought so, because before you can bat an eye, Finn Balor executes a simply beautiful Pele kick to the head of Johnny Gargano. Tommaso Ciampa stood there shocked. The Undisputed Era pounced like a pack of wild boars right on top of the former NXT champion. And then Finn Balor would take his time. He would stalk Johnny Gargano. He would follow him to the outside. He would target him with a running drop kick right into the barricade and then execute a brainbuster suplex. Head first, sends Johnny Gargano into the entrance ramp, leaving him motionless and nearly dead. Finn Balor showed not one gleam of emotion. He did not say one word. He didn't nod his head. He didn't throw up the Undisputed Era symbol. He didn't throw up a too sweet. He didn't do anything but destroy Johnny Gargano. He didn't even put his hands on Tommaso Ciampa. And now Finn Balor has embraced the dark side. He said he was going to embrace his past to make his future, or however it was he worded it. And I'm an idiot. I should have known right away that Finn Balor was going to turn heel. Finn Balor was a great heel. He started out as a heel as Prince Devitt, and now he's returned to his roots. He's gone back to his past to define his new future. I think that's how he said it. If it's not, that's how he should say it, because that was awesome. But where does this leave us? There are so many possibilities. Is Finn Balor the new member of the Undisputed Era? Some people are going to say, well, you can't do that because Adam Cole's the leader of the Undisputed Era and you can't have two leaders of the Undisputed Era. And I say, hell yeah, you can. And that would be a very interesting way to go down the road to a Finn Balor versus Adam Cole match. At some point, they are going to come to blows over who the real head of the Undisputed Era are. You can have the guys choosing sides. You could make it very, very interesting. And that's how we can get Balor versus Cole. This is something that as soon as Finn Balor stepped foot on the stage, everybody's like, oh man, we can get Finn Balor versus Adam Cole. But we're not going to get that just yet. And if they do it right, it could be something next level. And we are going to get Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano. What? Let me say that again. Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano is in our future. An evil Finn Balor, a sadistic bastard Finn Balor who's going to come out as the demon most likely and just eviscerate and try to end the career of Johnny Gargano. What is his plan? Why is he mad at Johnny? What is the motivation behind Finn Balor's turn? We have so many questions coming out of the end of NXT, none of which involve a 50-year-old man anywhere in sight. And it's fucking beautiful. It was beautiful. This is exactly what Finn Balor needed. His stint on the main roster had taken the Finn Balor good guy character and just ground him into dirt. Just dust, man. You can pick it up and blow him away. Nobody gave a shit about him anymore. This is exactly what is needed. And it is a weird time in the wrestling world. Wrestling fans, you know, we're back into that mode where we don't care if you're bad or you're good. If we like you, we're going to cheer you. So Finn Balor does some dastardly shit to the beloved Johnny Gargano. And the crowd is almost dead silent. Dead silent. There were no cheers for Finn Balor. They were not happy about this. This was a moment. NXT created a moment for Finn Balor and for the entirety of the NXT universe. This was awesome. This could lead to so many things that we could sit here and speculate all night long. The one thing that we can take away from this Wednesday night, whether you're talking about NXT, whether you're talking about AEW, whether you're talking about both of them, is that Wednesday night was awesome. Wednesday night was just awesome. NXT really didn't pull any punches this week. They were giving us bullshit shows, man. The last 2 weeks were just god-awful. Really, they were. They were making me even more angry because I know that these shows, like we got last night, are possible. This is what weekly TV could be like. It doesn't have to feel like a takeover. It has to feel like NXT. And tonight, well, last night, it definitely did. Thank you guys so much for being here with me for our NXT review and reaction show. If you missed anything on the channel this week, don't forget to check out Everything Wrong with AEW from last night, Everything Wrong with Monday Night Raw from Monday night, and tomorrow night, don't forget to be here for Everything Wrong with SmackDown. And then, of course, Saturday night, Everything Wrong with the Wednesday Night Wars head-to-head breakdown for week number 4, Saturday night, all coming to you guys right here, courtesy of Sledgehammer TV. If you don't want to miss any of it, make sure that you are one of the 2,000 plus that know when you want your wrestling news bullshit-free and full of fun and happiness sometimes. Feels weird to be so happy. This is the place to be. Hit that subscribe button right now. Don't forget to be notified and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video that we put up on this channel. We also put up a very special video to me where I attempted for the first time ever to illustrate by hand the beautiful and talented legit boss Sasha Banks. Drawing Sasha Banks, the latest installment of the Sketchhammer Shorts series, now available here on Sledgehammer TV. Go check it out. It's about 3 minutes. That's all it is. It's got some pretty cool music in the background, and it's a speed drawing time lapse. Watch Sasha Banks come to life right before your very eyes. Thank you guys, as always, for being with me here all week long as we get set to go into week number 5 of the Wednesday Night War and are really not looking forward to having to sit through SmackDown tomorrow night because I feel so full of wrestling happiness right now that I hope Friday never comes. My name is Nick Nightmare. This is the team, Thor the Sledgehammer, the official Sledgehammer of the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show. His tag team partner, the World Heavyweight Champion of all the microphones in all the world, Mr. Blue the Snowball. The most important member of the team, as always, is each and every one of you. And now, as good teammates, you could do your job and smash that like button if you enjoyed anything we had to say and do here today. And don't forget to share this video with each and every one of your wrestling buddies all over the wrestling world, especially if they need to know just how good NXT was. And we did highlight a couple of minor things wrong, because that's what I have to do. But it wasn't easy. They definitely didn't make it easy. Who's going to win this week? 2 really good shows? It's going to be a tough call. Let me know who you think should win the Wednesday Night War this week. And don't forget to drop your hammers in the comments section down below. Use the sledgehammer emoji and tell me what you thought was wrong. Find one thing. Just do what I have to do and just try to find one thing wrong. If you could pick one thing that you didn't like about NXT, let me know and drop your hammer down in the comment section down below. That, my friends, is going to do it. And we are out of here, and we will see you next time right here on your new favorite wrestling show, the Sledgehammer Wrestling Show, only on Sledgehammer TV, right here on YouTube.com.